my guest, who I'm proud to call my father, Ronald Williams Sr. And this is awesome. We're doing our first podcast for Wealth and Wisdom. And so, Pops, I appreciate you taking the time to pour into everybody to this evening and kind of just share everybody your background and, what life's been looking like for you since you retired.
Okay, thanks a lot, Ronnie. I've been retired about 5 years, 6 years now from the Postal Service. Also, I work part-time in alcohol drug abuse counseling. I even squeezed in some time working for the school district in New Mexico as a teacher assistant, also as a bus driver for the school district. So, it was an interesting journey. Met a lot of people, had a lot of experiences. So, it was interesting.
Nice. Well, so I wanted to do the first podcast with you because I know you had an experience with the solar panel industry, and I want to kind of share your story so that people out there can be aware, of what's happening and not fall victim to what happened with you. And
Right.
so I figured, let's kind of talk about this and see if this can make a difference in people's lives. So I'll kind of set the tone. You was living in New Mexico. Grandma was living with you at the time. And,
Right.
You had said, hey, you was thinking about getting some solar panels put on your house, right?
That's correct.
All right. And so what happened? I mean, the guy came to the door and pitched you about solar panels?
Yeah. I was at home minding my business. And the doorbell rang, and then this guy's standing out there on the porch, and he gives you this spiel about, hey, my company's in your neighborhood, and some of your neighbors are getting solar panels, and they're going to be saving big money. They got a pitch to serve to you to get their foot in the door.
Right.
And they're good at what they do. They've probably had a lot of experience. They've probably been trained how to alleviate your resistance to the product that they're trying to sell, unbeknownst to you.
Right.
It just looks like a chance meeting with somebody that's got a great opportunity for you.
Yeah. Well, and
right.
then
you ready to thank your lucky stars.
And so I know you had called me up, and me being in the industry at the time, I kind of know how sales go. I know what salesmen are looking for, what they're going to say, especially preying on, the senior market, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so at the time when you told me, I said, I don't think it's a good idea because you had said that there was no cost to you up front, correct?
Yeah, they made sure that they emphasized that, no money out of your pockets.
Right. Okay. And so then you decided to go for it. You decided to move forward and get it done. And how did that go? So.
Yeah, well, you got to remember your sister was living with me at the time too. And she had just graduated from community college in New Mexico. And then she said, well, her and Aiden, my grandson, probably be going back to California. And at that time, different things had changed in the family. My grandma started having like dementia episodes. And I talked to the doctor, and he was saying, well, it's only going to get worse. It's not going to get better.
Right.
And so when your sister Angie said that she was going back to California, it made me really sit down and think, how am I going to manage my mom? And there's nobody there to help me because I didn't have no family there.
Right.
So I started thinking, oh, shoot, man, maybe I should just move back to California where I have more support.
Right.
So once I decided that was what I was going to do, um, the idea of having those solar panels um, never occurred to me. I just felt like, oh, well, if I sell the house, whoever buys it, they will want the solar panels too, because they probably want to save money on their electric bill.
Right.
So I didn't think it would be a problem.
Did you save any money when you had it for the little time?
The little time that I had it, it did seem like my bills were less.
Okay. So I mean, there is some substance to the fact that you possibly could have saved money.
Yeah.
Okay. And now, I mean, again, I'm not saying that the solar industry is bad, but I know there's companies that do things the right way, and then there's companies that don't, right? And so, Tesla is I'm looking to purchase a Tesla, and I know that they offer where you can have solar panels on their house and so forth. But in this situation with the company you went with, they made it seem like you don't have to pay any money out of pocket, and you'll start saving money. But there's some fine print that they didn't tell you that when you signed, you was pretty much locked into an agreement, correct?
Right. Yeah. 20-year agreement.
20-year, okay. So I just did a video just recently that I'm posting up in regards to making sure that when you sign this agreement, you have somebody that can review it, right? Like an attorney or something that said, hey, before you sign this, here's what you're about to get yourself into. Obviously that wasn't the case, but
yeah, that would have been beneficial.
right. Okay. So then you move forward, you get the solar panels put on, and then you didn't know you was gonna be moving back to California because of grandma's health changing, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then what happened then? Once you decided you wanted to sell the house, you thought that you could just sell the house and whoever purchased the house was going to keep the solar panels, but it just happened the person that wanted to buy the house didn't want the solar panels, correct?
Right. I think what scared people away was when they saw that they were assuming that loan for those solar panels. And maybe they were a little more savvy than me. And they said, oh, no, that was a red flag to them.
Mm-hmm.
And, they didn't want to deal with that.
So then you contacted the company and told them, hey, you got to take these solar panels off. And then what happened?
Well, let's back up a little bit. What made me contact the company in the first place was the first person that put a bid to buy my house had a house inspector come out to my property to inspect it. And when he sent me his report, it said in the report that roof needed to be replaced. And in his opinion, those solar panels should have never been put on a roof that was in the condition that my roof was in.
Oh, and they didn't tell you that.
They didn't tell me that, see? So in the course of dealing with the solar company, because I think they were adept at taking people to the cleaners.
Right.
They had their own lawyers. I mean, they got you over the barrel, man, because you signed that contract.
Right. And that's the problem, is that these companies, really, it doesn't matter which company in, they know that they have lawyers. They're willing to take the risks to say, you probably don't have the manpower to say, I'm going to sue you and do so, because you're retired, right? So
right.
You don't have $150,000, $200,000 to say, all right, I'm going to pay for attorney fees to go against them, where they're a company that does have the manpower to do so.
Yeah, and in the course of time dealing with them, they let me know that.
They did let you know that?
Yeah.
Like a threat?
Yeah, I mean, they just kind of started jacking me around.
Right. Yeah, like they wouldn't answer your calls and
yeah, they wouldn't answer my calls and then switch me to different people.
Yeah.
And I think I felt like I'm getting deeper into something that's going to be devastating to me.
Right.
I started feeling that way.
Right.
And so I'll probably never know, but I do believe that my decision to mount a defense for myself helped me and kept it from being worse than it could have been. You know, because I started, everybody I talked to, I started saying, "What is your full name?" You know, and they were like, "What do you need my full name for?" I said, "Because when I sue this company, you're going to be included in that lawsuit."
Mm-hmm.
And so they would give me their name, and I would write it down, the time I talked to them, the date, and then I made sure that, I mean, because I could tell I was in a battle for my life here,
Right.
you know, because they made it clear that they could do all, you know, ultimate damage. Like they said, "We can take your house. We'll put a
Yeah.
lien
So
on
they
your house."
they take yeah. That's the whole point of me doing this podcast.
Right.
So they
And
pretty much said they could take your house from you
well, they didn't say they could take it.
or
They
put a
just said
lien against it.
we can put a lien on your
Okay.
property.
Well, that's still making things uncomfortable.
Right, because you can lose your house under those circumstances.
Right. And I'm pretty sure there's people that have lost their house.
From what I gathered, well, let me back up. I had to bring out the big guns, so to speak, you know, in my defense. So what I did was I contacted, what was that company for legal?
Legal Shield.
Yeah, Legal Shield.
Yeah. Prepaid legal.
Prepaid legal. And I explained the situation to them. And then the lawyer, one of the lawyers said, "Well, I can send a letter to them."
Right.
And sometimes that helps a little bit. They see that legal letterhead, you know?
Right. Yeah.
And and then, you know, he said, you can decide the wording, and then I'll just go over it and change things that need to be changed, because, you know, I can't use your words 100%. I'm going to change it to make it more legal sounding. And
Right.
so I said, okay, you know, and I had to pay him for that, but I think it was worth it. And then I sent that letter in a way where whoever received it had to sign for it.
Right. Yeah. Like you sent it like certified or
signature required.
Sure.
Yeah. See, so they can't say, "Oh, we never got that," you know.
Right.
So I was trying to cover my bases legally with them when I saw that they brought out the big guns on me. You know, I know my guns weren't as big as theirs, but I had to try to show them I'm not your average bear, you know. You know, I had to kind of like get it across the best way I could that you know, you're not going to just steamroll over me.
Right. Yeah. You're not going to roll
over me. You know.
Yep.
So, and I think it helped, man, because I mean, I still had to pay $20,000.
What?
To
you lost $20,000.
I lost $20,000, man.
Oh my goodness! Now again, you're retired, right? It's not like you're still working.
Right. You know. So I mean, it was you know, it was a hit on my financial picture.
Right.
But it could have been worse.
Yeah.
You know, I could have lost my house in the process.
Well, and that's why I appreciate you, you know, being vulnerable to kind of share your story, because, you know, what happens is that when things happen to us, we kind of just like crumble up and don't want to share because we're embarrassed, right? You know, and we don't say, hey, you know, well, this is something that happened. And we hear all these stories. I mean, you got plenty of stories. So, but what if other people got to hear those stories and say, oh, okay, now that person comes knocking at my door, right? They saw this podcast or they listened to this podcast and they said, wait a minute, hold on for a minute. This sounds good. I know you're good at what you're doing, but let me get somebody involved and make sure I'm not going down the wrong road here. And that could save so many things. That can save that person stress, um, losing a home, money, like 20, I think we had another family member lose $50,000 in a similar situation. I mean, people don't just have that money just to be tossed around, for no reason, so.
Right. And what consumers have to realize is that these people have been trained to take advantage of you, unbeknownst to you.
Yep.
They have done, how many workshops or how many classes they've taken, and I'm sure they do role playing where it's like you're the customer, you're the homeowner, and I'm trying to sell this product, and they go through steps to show them
right
how to break down your defenses,
overcome your objections,
because they know that at first you're going to balk.
Yeah.
But then, they teach them how to get through that. And once they get their hooks in you, man, it's like they could care less.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I mean, they're out taking advantage of folks.
But see, like I said, to let them know I wasn't the average bear, I had to resort to stuff I learned in the street, man. When I moved back out here to California, the guy that was on my doorstep in New Mexico had got a promotion and he was in LA. And I called his company repeatedly until I got his phone number in LA. And I called him in LA and I told him what was going on and that I was very dissatisfied and that if he wasn't careful, he may see me again. Oh. I said, I'm in LA, homie.
Man, they don't want to see the old Ron from Baltimore show up.
Yeah. I said, I'm pulling out all stops now. Yeah.
Oh man.
And I said, what's your address, what's your office number and stuff? He said, no, don't come down here. You know.
Yeah.
I said, well, you know what, man? I said, you better make some phone calls.
Right.
Because I said, I'm going through it with your company, man, and I ain't too happy right now.
Right.
And he did make some phone calls.
Absolutely. I bet he did.
So I'm not proud of that, but, I mean, when my back is against the wall, I'm going to do what I know best.
Sure.
And that just came out, man.
So you did sell the house though, right? On a positive note, you did sell the house.
Well, I lost the first buyer because of all of the delays with the solar people.
Right.
The first buyer ended up backing out. I said, hey, you know what? I'm out.
Right.
Because I kept telling them to take the solar panels off and they wouldn't do it. They took a long time to take them off. And then I got another buyer and I was able to say, well, the solar panels are off. And so then the second buyer, they went through, the paperwork, the escrow. And then when it got to the point where it was time to sell the house, that's when the real estate lady called me and told me, we can't go no further because that solar company has a lien on your property.
Right.
And she even turned on me in a way. I think she was real nice up to that point. But when she saw her commission in jeopardy, she was like, I don't know what you need to tell them, but you need to call them and tell them to take that lien off. It wasn't like I wasn't trying to get the lien taken off.
Right.
She was getting impatient.
Because they think dollar signs, man. Our society is all about what's in it for me. Right.
Right. And I seen a different side of her.
Yep. You saw the true side of her. That's what you saw.
Yeah, I hung up that phone. I said, dang,
Yeah, absolutely. Do the math. I mean, how much
turned on me like a German Shepherd, boy.
Yeah. And unfortunately, that people just want They really don't look out for the best interests of the client. There's very
Heck no,
few people
man.
that do
I don't
that.
care what they say.
Yeah,
Those real estate people, they say, "Oh, I'm on your side and stuff." No, you're on your side.
exactly.
So, but in the long run, I signed the paperwork that the solar company sent to me they sent it online and you had to sign it.
E-signature.
Yeah, e-signature, that they would get their money at the closing. And so then once I did that, they took away the lien. The sale went through, and I was able to sell the house. And I think I told you this before. Then I had a condominium that was on the market, and then that sold. So in a way, that made up for the money that I lost.
Right.
But I could have had more money
Absolutely.
had I not been stuck with that 20 grand.
Right.
To the solar company. And everybody, it may not turn out like that for everybody.
Yeah.
You may not have more than one piece of property that you're selling and able to absorb the loss.
Right.
So
if you had to do it all over again, how would you have done things differently?
I would have done my due diligence, and if you're willing to put yourself in a situation that's going to involve thousands of dollars, then the logical thing to do is to invest a fee of $150, $200 to have a lawyer look at it.
Right.
So it save you a lot of money and worry and frustration.
Right.
It'd probably be the best $200 you ever spent, or whatever the amount is.
Right.
To have a legal person look at it, because you can't understand those contracts.
Yep.
And it was a hard lesson. And and even though you told me it probably wasn't a good idea, I just felt like who wouldn't want to save money by having solar panels on their electric bill?
Right.
And
I'm not saying that you couldn't have saved money. I felt that when they lied to you and said that it didn't cost you anything, that's when the red flag went up. Like if you'd have known full transparency, hey, listen, this is going to cost you $20,000. Meaning, if you get these, when you put these solar panels in your house and you decide to sell it, then it's going to cost you this amount of money. If you'd have known that, you probably wouldn't have did it. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. So that's the reason why people need to pull the curtain back and know exactly how things work. And that's right. The problem with our industry is they don't tell you everything. They tell you what you want to hear, but they're not being full transparent when it goes to that. Right?
Yeah, it's like the casinos, man. The house always wins.
Yeah.
And so these corporations, they're out to make money, and they'll tell you whatever they need to tell you to promote themselves. And these salesmen, they're trying to move up. So the more people that they can pull the wool over their eyes and get the money, it benefits them.
Right.
How do you think he got that promotion to LA?
Right.
It's because he bamboozled enough people in New Mexico to get that promotion. Yeah. He just thought he never thought he was going to hear from me again.
Right. I know he was scared, boy. Because really, it's like you don't know who we know,
Right. So, I said, man, I'm in LA. Right. I guess he thought, I left you in New Mexico.
Well, my background used to be skip tracing, so when I first started, I could find people. That's not a problem. We'll find you.
Yeah.
But and I guess so. What happened to the company? Didn't they get in trouble?
Yeah, I filed a complaint with the Attorney General of Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I got a chance to talk to one of the representatives there, and she sent me a newspaper clipping that the Attorney General had filed a lawsuit against that company
Right.
because they got so many complaints
Yeah.
from people.
But you didn't
I
check
don't.
out the company. You didn't look them up. You didn't do none of that.
Well, they're a pretty big company, man. They're out here. I see them out here.
Okay.
So they're nationwide,
Gotcha.
but they have the ability to keep stuff tied up in the court.
Yeah.
So even though the Attorney General sued them, it could be years before any
Right.
resolve come. And those companies know that.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not scared of litigation.
Right, exactly. They know that they're gonna. Oh my God, it's so good. They know that they can take advantage of enough people, and that a small percentage of that money they're gonna have to pay back. And so they're hiring an attorney. Attorney's gonna be on their defense, and it just boils down to the fact that, again, you didn't read the contract, so
Right.
Your word against theirs, so to speak.
In small letters on every contract, I think it says buyer beware.
Right.
So that's a true statement.
Yeah.
And that if you don't advocate for yourself, then it's like you just throwing yourself to the wolves.
Right.
Because they come to you in sheep's clothing, but they're really wolves.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they don't have no remorse.
Right. No, they don't. They sleep well at night.
Right. Yeah.
But for some people, I mean, thank God that your house is paid off and you was able to purchase another house and so forth, and things are going great. But for some people, it's not. I mean, with the homeless situation that's going on right now, I'm pretty sure there's a small percentage of people that got taken advantage of by some way. Something happened.
Exactly. And it didn't have to be a solar panel company.
No.
Since I've been here in California, I've had people call me and they say, oh, we're with a company that was created with bond issues, and we fix up senior citizens' homes, and you get a reduced cost and stuff. I was like, I'm not interested.
Right.
But you don't understand. I said, I don't need to understand. Once bitten, twice shy.
Right.
Yeah. I don't even want to hear about, what the cost, the reduced cost for me and all of that. No, because and you know what? I'm not going to say 100% it was the same company that called me in California, but I read in a paper where it was almost similar to what happened with the solar panel company, with this other company calling me about refurbishing senior citizens' houses. In the paper, right here in LA, I saw where they have filed a lawsuit against one of those places that were talking about refurbishing senior citizens' homes, because it wasn't like they said. Again, it was like, they give you a spill,
right,
and they tell you that they're not gonna charge you the same amount that they charge other people, but it was still people getting behind in their mortgage, trying to pay off the loan for the home repairs they had done with these companies, man.
Right.
So, it was just a confirmation to me that it's still a scam, so to speak.
Yep.
And so, you may dodge the bullet the first time, but it's another scam waiting around the corner.
Yeah. Well, what about these reverse mortgages that people are buying into? They're targeting senior citizens. Hey, you don't have to, if you can't afford to stay in your house, we'll just do a reverse mortgage, and now you don't make any more mortgage payments, right? So you get to stay in there, I guess, rent free or mortgage free, right? But
Right.
then when you pass away or when something happens, the money or the bank now owns your property,
Right.
right? So
Yeah.
that $500,000, $1 million house doesn't go to your family, it goes to the bank,
Yeah.
you
And
know, but they,
they
go
get
ahead.
celebrities and stuff to
Promote.
push those
Oh yeah,
commercials. I see them all the time.
right.
And they know the concept is a little foreign to people, because the latest one I saw, the guy, um, he's an actor on TV. He says, now some people think reverse mortgage is just another way to steal your house. That's not true. I'm like, it's
Okay,
not.
right.
So they know that people know what's going on, man. But
Yeah,
they still they like, don't believe it. You know, I trust them, and you can too. He said. And I
yeah.
said, boy, boy, boy. But now the latest one is they have a commercial encouraging people to look into. You can sell your life insurance policy.
Oh yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah,
I said, what?
yeah.
I said, yeah, we
Somebody
needed
will
the
buy your
money,
life insurance. Yeah,
and then we sold our life insurance policy.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm thinking, they have to take a big chunk from you to do that.
Well,
They're
they
not
don't.
going to.
Well, it's somebody's going to be paying the policy, and then you have to make them as a beneficiary. So, like if I wanted to buy your life insurance policy from you, let's just say you couldn't afford to pay the $200 a month or whatever, but I'm now going to be the beneficiary. So I'm going to get the money, but I got to pay you out obviously something up from it, So I got to give you some money,
Oh, right.
you
But
know.
that could be a third of it or something.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a loss, especially if you've been paying the premiums for a long time.
Right. Oh yeah.
So it's like, man, it's really getting to be dog eat dog, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of sad.
Yeah. Well, so I think this helped. I think people learned a lot from you. Uh, I know that it was something that's been on my mind to, share your experience when it comes to people knocking on your door. And I mean, it could be anything. It doesn't have to be solar panels. I mean, um,
It could be
water filters, door
vacuum
alarms.
cleaners.
Yeah. I mean, anything really, where
Right.
where you're locked into some type of contractual agreement, and then you can't get out.
Right.
And now you're like, wait a minute, I'm paying this extra money, and you got my hands tied.
Yeah.
People from
Yeah.
different countries. A lot of my clients are from India, Nigeria, Vietnam, and they don't really know how things work. They're not
Right.
educated on these hustles that go on. So,
Or Mexico.
or Mexico. Oh my goodness, yeah, in
Yeah.
Mexico, huge. So,
Mhm.
so yeah, do you want to just wrap up with anything that you want to share as we wrap up this podcast?
Well, that's pretty much it. I mean, we could even include smaller scale stuff, like some products that you can order online. When they say free 30-day trial, like they'll ship the product to you, and you can try for 30 days with no cost. A lot of times that's contingent on them doing automatic shipping to you.
Right.
Like you might only wanted the product one time to try it out, but next thing you know, you look up every month that product's getting shipped to you, and you're being charged.
Yeah.
And when you try to call to tell them you don't want it every month,
Right.
they give you the runaround, man, and they
Yep.
just keep billing you.
Yep.
See, so when you accept you know, when you think you're getting ready to get something free for 30 days, they're really locking you in to a continuous monthly charge.
Yep.
And next thing you know, you're on a revolving wheel of monthly payments that you gotta pay.
Yeah.
You
I was
didn't
I was
sign
one
up
of
for
those,
that.
Victor. Yeah, I was one of
Oh
those.
yeah, we all have.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, what is this?
Right.
See? And they know you don't know.
Right. Or they said, no, you can't cancel. You know, you're locked into
Yeah.
it for a year. What do you mean I'm locked into it for a year?
Right. That's extortion.
Yeah.
You know.
It is extortion. And again, they know that because of their financial status, right, that they can tell you that, you know.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, man. So, you know, it's kind of like you gotta really give yourself time to check things out before you know, venture into those waters.
Right.
And you can best believe while you sleep, they're coming up with some new stuff that you don't know about.
Yep.
You know, so you'll never be ahead of the game. You just always have to be vigilant of what's the next new scam coming out.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's important. That's important. So, well, man, listen, I appreciate you, like I said, taking the time to do this with me. I know I've been procrastinating. I've been saying, hey, I need to get this going.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll get this posted out on YouTube and
Okay.
on my Wealth and Wisdom podcast, and then we'll do some more. You know, we'll continue to put this type of information out there so that people can send out to their family members and friends and coworkers and so forth. So
exactly. Okay, I appreciate you.
Yeah, I love you, man. Thank you.
I love you too, Randy.
Okay. All right.